Tahuti is the Neter deity of learning, writing, mathematics and language, and the keeper of the secret word, as the Christians say it. John 1:1. In the beginning was the word. The Quran puts it, Allah just said a word to create. Kun, be or exist. They copied it from Egypt. John 1:1. In the origin of things there was the saying, and that saying was the Theos, Elohim's saying, and that saying was a saying amongst the Theos, Elohim. Tahuti is referred to as Thoth by the Greeks, who is referred to as Gu by the Tamarayat, Egyptians. In ancient Tamare, Egypt, he is the scribe of the Neterot deities. He appears as the record keeper of the dead in the books of Coming Forth by Day, Book of the Dead, and he is the patron of learning and of the arts. He is the inventor of writing, and in the specific theology related to him, he is also seen as the creator of this universe. Tahuti is depicted as a man with the head of an Ian baboon or of a heb ibis bird. He also bears a pen and ink, and sometimes also the lunar disk, moon disk, and crescent moon. The heb ibis bird is a wading bird related to the stork and the heron. The choice of the ibis indicates a unique feature or quality which spiritual learning requires. This quality is related to the wading nature of the heb ibis bird. The word wading means walking in or through a substance, as water, that offers resistance, impedes or makes movement difficult. The Luna crescent moon symbol of Tahuti is a figure of the moon or Luna in its first quarter. It has concave and convex edges terminating in points, 4 moon cycles and 4 sun cycles. The deity Khonsu was also a lunar deity. He assisted Tahuti in recording the passing of time and also served as a healer of the sick and protector against evil spirits. The crescent moon symbol signifies growing or increasing overstanding, reason and spiritual wisdom. The Muslims took it as their symbol of when to open and break their fast of Ramadan. Many Islamic countries also use the crescent on their flags. In the Quran, Surah 2-189, it states in part, "They ask thee concerning the new moons. Say, they are but signs to mark fixed periods of time in the affairs of men and for pilgrimage, a key pillar in their faith Islam. They got it from Egypt." Therefore, Tahuti is the embodiment of knowledge. He was known as Hermes and Thoth by the Greeks, Melchizedek in your Bible, and Al-Qadr in Islam. This is one of the reasons he is said to have created writing. He is also the messenger of Ra, the sun deity, also meaning the soul who brought the special words of power to Aset al-Set, Isis in the Azarian resurrection story in order to resurrect her husband, Asaru User, Osiris. This is also the same deity that Hagar of the Bible called on El Roy. Genesis 16:13. Tahuti represents intellect, the mind and its capacity to cut through, wading through, the myriad of thoughts and concepts, water, in order to get to the truth. The universe is overstood to be like an ocean of matter through which Ra sails on his highly decorative boat Manjet in order to sustain creation. Tahuti is Ra's mind, the mental plane, with which Ra moves through the ocean of creation, which is true birth or growth. Ra incarnated into Tahuti, who kept all the secrets of Ra. Thus, the universe is like an ocean of consciousness known as Noon, the letter of light Nur and fire Nar in Syriac, Arabic. Both of these words are also written in Arabic without the use of vowels. Its meaning was known to the Egyptians as to cuddle a fish or whale. In the Muslim religion of Islam it became Nun, the great whale of Jonah, the great sea creature. A mystic letter in the Quran which is the Abjad 50, and this is equivalent to the epochs which takes place every 50,000 years with the ending and the beginning of a whole cycle. Each equinox cycle is 25,000 years and consists of a lunar moon cycle or a solar sun cycle, and together they make up the 50-year epochs. In the Quran, Surah 68 verse 1, which was originally Surah 2 verse 1, it says Al-Kalam, the pen or nun. The letter N could also symbolically represent Jonah in the Arabic form Yunus, where the characteristics from the letter is N. The spirit, Ra, uses the mental plane, Tahuti, to maintain order and to bring forth learning and knowledge to creation through the arts, sciences and language. Nothing is invented by human beings. Everything that is created by civilization comes from the mental plane and is grown. That is growth like knowledge, and not from any individual human being. To think otherwise would be an egotistical thought. The more a person is in tune with the mental plane, the more knowledge he or she can obtain and the more inner peace and fulfillment a person can experience. The link must be made. The farther away a person gets from the mental plane through negative actions, ignorance and delusion, the less able a person is to discover goodness, inner peace, knowledge, happiness and health in life. So Tahuti devised a plan to approach Haru Horus. Overstanding that he is in a state of intense dullness, he knows that he cannot approach him directly by using his ordinary form and by giving him direct teachings as to the nature of the self, Ra, and his true identity. So he decides to transform himself into the form of a humble, harmless-looking Ian baboon instead of presenting himself in the form of a regal heb ibis bird-heading divinity. He did not actually become a baboon, He took the form of a baboon, so that he can teach Haru the nature of the baboon in his quest for water holes. So this became the lesson of the school of the aggressor, simian monkey. Just as the heb ibis, bird, is a school of the bird, the eagle is the symbol of America, it's the same principle. Tahuti also decided to present some of the most profound teachings related to the nature of the animals in the self, in the form of parables in order to gradually gain his confidence and stimulate latent memories of his true glory. Now, in the quest for water holes, when a monkey is searching out water, they wait until another animal goes to get water so the monkey can follow them and find water. This is a sign of thinking, thought, planning and scheming. As the baboon, Tahuti is holding the eye of Ra as a warning of caution. Tahuti was preparing Haru for a war that was to be fought between him and his uncle Skillset, and remember Ra incarnated into Tahuti so Tahuti became his eyes. Tahuti's crescent does not have any connection with Hathor. The two horns of Hathor represents the upper abode and the lower abode, and the center represented the spinal cord. The crown also symbolized the divine contents, for lying within the brain is the radiant kingdom of Pa-Neter, the deity, within mortals. Two horn symbols were utilized by the spiritual elders who walked with men in the days of learning to teach the children of Ta, earth. In the beginning, the spiritual master must help the individual to somehow turn the anguish and pain experienced as a result of interaction with the world into a want to rise above it. To this end, a series of techniques and disciplines have been developed over thousands of years. Some of these methods are facts, parables, mental discipline, meditation and physical culture, bodily discipline, Smai union exercises, refer to the breath book for information about Egyptian Smai, and development of the internal life force Sekhem. Ashutot prayer can be found for all of these subjects in the sacred tablets of Tamar-A. The WAP spiritual master needs to help the seeker to restructure and channel those energies which arise from disappointment and frustration into a healthy dispassion for the physical world and its entanglements. The spiritual master shows the way to develop spiritual aspiration and self-effort directed at sustaining a viable personal spiritual program or spiritual discipline to the true Tamarai Egyptian mystic. Tahuti is the quintessential image of the spiritual master in this story. The word spiritual master is an Egyptian term signifying spiritual instructor, a teacher of spiritual truths. A spiritual instructor is a sage one with wisdom and good judgment who shows others the way to overstand the higher reality beyond the ordinary phenomenal universe. But, first the true being inside seeks the real you. He or she shows others how to discover their true identity and realize their oneness with Pa Kulum, the All. In the Essene order, they are spiritual guides. The Essene order was a strict spiritual community, made up of men and were called many names such the Magi, the Elders, the Wise Men, etc. The teacher offers humility and honesty with a beguiling wit, cheerfulness and an uplifting outlook. The teacher brings divine food in the form of teachings which uplift the mind by relieving the burden of pain and sorrow which weighs down the soul of a human being due to ignorance and negativity. The divine food is the taste of divine glory. It is a glimpse of the goal which a devotee must aspire to experience in its fullness but which is experienced in degrees as the teacher gives the spiritual teaching and as it is assimilated by the devotee. Tahuti is the wonderful teacher of Hathor and Haru Horus. The devotee must learn to respect and trust the teacher. Also, the devotee must allow the teaching to penetrate deeply within the heart. It is only then that the teaching will have a transformative effect. Hathor allowed Tahuti's words to penetrate her cold, anguished heart and she began to remember her past glory. This is the process of divine memory wherein she began to regain the remembrance of her true identity. The pain of seeing her current level of existence in comparison with her past glory brought her to tears. This is the common realization of a spiritual neophyte, beginner, someone recently joining the ancient Egyptian order, when beginning to overstand the right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right overstanding, called Nu Wabu or Nu Wapu. What have I done to come down from the heights of divinity to the limited state of human life and mortal existence? How did I fall from grace? You chose to rule self. How wretched am I? How degraded am I? These are the kinds of questions asked by a spiritual neophyte who is beginning to overstand the meaning of the spiritual teachings. This form of thinking leads to a resolution to regain one's true glory as a deity and realign yourself with your etheric parents. And to rise up from the degradation of ignorance, may I find a teacher who can guide me on the path to self-discovery and truth at once. Thus, Hathor came to respect Tahuti. She accepted his offering, listened to his teachings and later trusted him with her life. Netert Ma'at is the foundation of all the mystery schools of thought. The quill is also from the ostrich feather, which was the Ma'at feather. Ma'at was the wife of Tahuti Thoth and the daughter of Ra. Yes, these are people, just like you are blood, flesh and bones. She was the Netert of the unalterable laws of heaven. When the Egyptians said heaven, they meant the skies, the solar system, galaxies, universe. They actually recorded Septet Sirius and Sahu Orion as heaven above. Ma'at was the female netter of truth, justice, right thinking and the weigher of the heart. She was the ruler of the day of judgment. Yes, the Bible and Quran got it from this. She is the order which rules the worlds through balance. She was a net, master, sustainer, lord, of all the worlds. The creation of the universe could not have been an accident for one reason, and that is, that there is Ma'at order within Nun chaos. Like everything else, life began with one thing in mind, to be, and with this thought a thing became, and impregnation existed, by the will of Hu, the creative force of will. Who as a word gave birth to Yahuwah, Jews' God, Jehovah, Christians' God, and Uwa or Allahu, Muslims' God. Ma'at can be seen on numerous walls of ancient Tamare, Egypt. Even the greatest teacher cannot teach a person who is not qualified to learn. Therefore, we must enumerate the 9 virtues of a spiritual neophyte, beginner. These imply the qualities that anyone desiring to practice spirituality needs to work on to develop. The teachings of bodily discipline and mystical reality are the means by which an ordinary human being can rise to the state of spiritual truth, inner fulfillment, peace and abiding happiness in life. These teachings were in ancient times passed on through an exact system which involves listening to, study of, and meditation upon the teachings in a proper environment and with proper guidance. This method of teaching is known as initiatic way of education. There are many styles of bodily discipline, although their goals are all the same: union with the real you, the inner deity. These include bodily discipline of intuitive wisdom of the divine, of devotional union with the divine, of meditation and mind control, of virtuous living, of cultivation of the latent life force energy. Second,